Dr. P. Priyadarsini to welcome the gathering. Over to you, ma'am.
Good morning, all. We are indeed privileged, and I extend my pleasure in inviting you all for the phase 3 of our STTP. And it has been a long travel, but we felt uh, it went on very fast. It is because of very good participants and very good resource person, and we had a very good response for the last two phases in the midst of so many busy schedules and academic pressures and the weather. The participants were very enthusiastic and were present for all these sessions, and when it is very good to hear from them when they say it was useful for the research, and they were connecting themselves to the resource person for further activities. So it is very nice and it is highly motivating us. And so at first foremost, I extend my welcome to all the participants who have joined for this STTP. And it is my privilege, honor, and indeed my happiness in welcoming Varsha Balakrishnan to this as a resource person for this STTP. We welcome you, Varsha ma'am. So we have known her for few months, but she has given a feel that we know her for a very long period of time. So that is the speciality of Varsha Balakrishnan, and she is a corporate trainer and she is a certified NLP, and she is a trainer for leading MNCs, and also she has delivered programs for teachers and students, and she is very much known for her active, interactive programs on stress management, group activities, team relationship, interpersonal relationship. So she is very much known for all those things, and a very down-to-earth person, and a very simple person, a very vibrant person. So I need not say all these things. At the end of the session, you people can feel that. Thank you, Varsha, for joining with us. And we are very happy to have your vibrant as a start for this phase 3 STTP. Thank you all, and over to Kavitha for a brief introduction about Varsha Balakrishnan.
Thank you, ma'am. Today, amidst us, we have a young, energetic, vibrant personality with us. As ma'am said, she is Varsha Balakrishnan. I know her personally, she'll really be a vibrant person, I can assure. So her profile goes like this. She strongly believes in a motto, which is learn, unlearn, relearn. She is a full-time freelance soft skill trainer. Her corporate clients are Aspire Systems, Super Auto Coach, Global Mantra Innovation, Siemens Gamesa, Royal Sundaram, Hexaga Technologies, Virtusa, Infotex, and it goes on. She also conducts induction, campus to corporate communication, leadership training workshops, and soft skills. She's a NLP and life coach too. She counsels, guides issues relating to mental well-being, personal and professional development. She ran an online clothing boutique. So out of her passion, she did she was an entrepreneur too. She was an associate consultant for Fabric Business Research International Center. She's a business presentation specialist in McKinsey's and Co. Company. She had done her online certifications in neuroplasticity, science of well-being, reframing your life, cognitive behavior therapy for anxiety and panic attacks, and 5 core NLP principles of success. Her key strengths are audience engagement, adaptability and flexibility, inter and intrapersonal communication, positivity and reliability, presentation, delivery management, team leader and team player, and time management. She is expertise in business communication skills, critical and creative thinking, problem solving, cleanse of destructive thoughts and mindfulness, goal setting, self-awareness, self-confidence, voice modulation and tonality, workplace diversity, speak up for success, and it goes on. I've cut short. Sorry, Varsha. Please forgive me. So, nice meeting you, Varsha Balakrishnan. I would now like to hand over the session to you. Over to you, Varsha.
Thank you so much. Hi, all. A very good morning to all the eminent personalities present in this training room today. Firstly, I extend my gratitude to Priyadarsini ma'am and Kavitha ma'am for giving such a nice introduction. It was a reminder that, oh, this is what I am doing and this is what I truly believe in. So thank you so much for that. Before we delve deeper into the session, I would like to understand if it's possible for all of us to have our cameras turned on, because I do really miss not being in a classroom session with all of you. But if it is possible for us to connect virtually and be able to see each other, I think the joy and the magnitude that this session could extend would be much more. Is it possible for us, all of us, to turn on our video camera? Yes, no, or you can put a message on the chat box. Okay, so I will be waiting for all of you to have your cameras turned on, but meanwhile, I'll quickly begin with the session. So once again, hi all, very good morning, and I'm really happy to be a part of this Phase 3 Emotional Intelligence workshop. I would like to start the session on a small quote, and which is, emotionally intelligent people like all of you present in the training room today, emotional intelligence reminds us that, hey, each one of you have the responsibility, or rather the freedom of choice to decide how you can respond to situations, people, words that come your way. And also, it reminds you that it is up to you to decide how you want to influence the people around you. I truly believe that emotions are contagious. Like how if there is a forest fire or a live current wire available, which automatically will transfer or transmit the fire or spread the current all across. Similarly, the emotions that we express either in our face, our words, our behavior automatically tends to influence all the people around you. And for that, true example would be all of us in this training room today, considering all of you are doing a wonderful job as a teaching faculty. You will understand this concept much more better, because what you say, how you convey it really does influence the people around you. So today I would be sharing a couple of techniques which will help you become much more aware of how you can handle yourself, and also how you can better engage with your students to ensure more effectiveness in your teaching classes. It could be in a classroom setup or in a virtual setup. So on this note, let's dive in deeper. I just have a clarification to make, which is, do all of us in this room today understand both Tamil and English? Also, if Hindi required, you could either show a thumbs up or leave a message in the chat box. Okay, great. Meanwhile, I'll give you one more minute. You could quickly turn on your video camera. I would love to see your beautiful, handsome faces, and it will make me feel that I am still a part of you and they're not very distanced. Because emotional intelligence is all about what goes on here. I might look like a fool constantly smiling, but I'm comfortable. I'm happy to be represented or conveyed in that particular, expressed in that particular manner. If there is a network or connectivity issues, no problem. For those of you who have turned on your cameras, thank you so much. So, okay, so it looks like all of you do understand Tamil. Edhukaga na ketana sila jokes, if native language, either Tamil or Hindi, I'm comfortable with both. Idla sonnana the value will be so much more. We can really enjoy it, rejoice it, which is why I asked. I just have a simple, one simple rule for today's session, which is, let us all choose to and decide to smile. Like I already mentioned, emotions are highly contagious. Therefore, when we all 28 of us, when we agree to smile, even if your cameras are turned off, no problem. When you smile, it automatically signals your brain that, hey, just relax yourself and absorb whatever comes your way like a sponge. And what happens is the information that comes your way, you would be able to understand how you can apply it in your daily life or inculcate that habit as part of your usual routine. And the intent of this session, like how Kavitha ma'am had already mentioned, falls into just three categories: learning, relearning, and unlearning. I presume that all of us already have 5% awareness of what emotional intelligence could be, because either based on your past experience or after attending, recent workshops, or just understanding the very simple meaning of these two terminologies. But I truly believe that for us to constantly be relevant and for constantly be updated with the trends around us, it's important for us to constantly keep growing. And even my intention in today's session is for me to grow and for me to learn much more from all of you than what I would be sharing with all of you. The second is relearning. Relearning is all about you might already be practicing techniques related to emotional intelligence, but when you relearn the entire process, it's just a reminder to your existing knowledge that, hey, you're on the right track. Continue doing what you're doing consistently to see better results with your students. And the third is unlearning. That could be sometimes, we feel really dejected, we feel low, we could get irritated easily based on the reaction or behavior of our students, and we might tend to snap, or we might tend to talk otherwise or reflect a negative characteristic or behavior of ours. So in order to make sure that that doesn't happen, or that at least goes down, mellows down, this session will help you understand that there's always time for us to unlearn what we have been doing in order to create much more value and enhance our sessions. So on this note, I'm going to get started. The session will be for the next 50 odd minutes. I will try to keep it as simple, sweet, and short as possible. And as always, please feel free to ask questions. You can stop me if you have any point of view or perspective. And I truly believe that only when all of us interact, we'll be able to learn something together, because like how in a classroom session where we would expect students to interact with us, similarly over here, only when all of you interact with each other, it becomes that much more interesting, because interaction is a bridge between knowledge and application of the knowledge. Let's get started. So the first activity for all of you is to practice laughter therapy. So how many of you in this room already practice laughter therapy, or you already know laughter therapy? You can put it in the chat box, or you can quickly turn on your video camera and wave your hand to me. Yes, Kavitha, I'm sure that you already know this. Anybody else? Okay, Fatima. I do remember sharing this knowledge with you. Kavitha, could you mute yourself, please? There is I think, a network issue. Okay, so I can see that a few of you have mentioned, somewhat, and few of you aren't entirely aware. No problem. We're all going to quickly practice this. If your video camera is off, I understand it could be network issues, but is it possible for us to unmute ourselves and just practice so that at least we can listen to each other's voice? You'll get tired if you're going to listen only to my voice for the next 1 hour. It's easy to be a facilitator, teacher, but when you have to be at the receiving end for 1 hour, it could get tiring. So I feel you already. So in order to make sure that you can hear different voices, is it possible for us to unmute ourselves? Thank you, Mano ma'am. Thank you, Visagan sir. Thank you, Dr. Saifuddin. I'm waiting for all of you to unmute. Thank you, Manjulaasree ma'am. Thank you, Tamilarsi ma'am. Okay, so what we're going to do right now is I'm going to give you 3 instructions, which is ho, ho, ha, 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 hey. Ho, ho, ha, 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 hey. So all that you have to do is imagine there's a scale in front of you, 1 to 10, 1 being least speed and being highest, fastest speed. So when I give you a number, let's say 7, you would have to pace in the same pace along the same number, the same speed, and then say ho ho ha ha hey. That's all. Very, very simple. What will your actions be? You do ho ho ha 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 hey. It's okay if I can't see you, but you can enjoy looking at me and how I am very happy to make a fool of myself. So just play along. We'll do this just 4 times and then we'll move into the first technique for the day. So let's get started. The speed that I'm going to give you right now is 3. Ho, ho, ha, 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 hey. Thank you, Manjula ma'am. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Hey, great. So we're going to do speed 9 now, just twice. 3, 2, 1, start. Ho, ho, ha, hey. Great. Hey. Excellent. Super. So on this note, thank you so much for participants who have been lively and coming forward. For those of you who I'm sure who don't have a video camera or a mic turned on, no issues. I truly believe that you're still practicing this behind screen, behind camera. The reason that we do laughter therapy is to remind you that emotions, like I mentioned, are contagious. Similarly, only when we are in a frame of mind to receive information, it becomes easier for us to process. EI, if I could define it in just 2 lines, is very simple. It's awareness of what emotions you're experiencing, awareness of what emotions the people around you are experiencing. It could be your family, students, strangers, doesn't matter. The second is how are you managing your emotions and how are you able to manage the emotions of the other people. So for those of you who haven't attended a session in the past, no problem. Emotional intelligence is all about building internal awareness of how you are reacting, how you're responding, your thought process, and also awareness of the people around you and how you can manage your emotions and the emotions of people around you. So today I would be sharing 3 to 4 techniques depending on how the time goes, which will be useful for you in your day-to-day life. Now, I want you to think of your favorite teacher or a favorite professor or a learning faculty that you had in your past, either in your school. I'm going to take you way back in time, either in your school, college days, or even right now in this training room, if you feel there are a few of your favorite professors, colleagues who are part of this session. What are the qualities that make you feel that this person is my favorite teacher or professor? You can leave your comments in the chat box. நம்மளுக்கு சில பேர் பார்த்தாலே உடனே பா சூப்பரா எடுக்கிறாங்களே, இவங்கள மாதிரி நம்மளும் இருக்கணும், எப்படி பேசுறாங்களே அவங்கள மாதிரி நம்மளும் இன்டராக்ட் பண்ணணும், அந்த மாதிரி நம்மளுக்கு சில பேர் பார்த்தா தோணும். If you have a person like that in your mind, tell me what qualities you look for that makes you feel that they are very special or you really like them. Okay, so I can see Pradeep sir, Vijay Kumar sir, etc. Great. Also, I want to know what are the qualities that make you like this person. For example, in this room, I know 2 people already very well, which is why I'm going to use their name, no favoritism. So, for example, Priyadarsini ma'am, the reason that I look up to her is because she's very patient. She's willing to listen to you completely and then come to a conclusion or share her point of view instead of pouncing or jumping to a conclusion. So that is a quality that I really like in a teacher. Similarly, if I have to talk about Kavitha ma'am, she is a person who is willing to extend her support and is willing to share her knowledge or what do I say, extend her help for everybody around her. So that is a great quality I look for in a teacher.
Thank you, Acha.
Pleasure. So Surat sir says a pleasing personality. Very true. Manjulaasree ma'am says she's talking about Rangarajan sir and his unique style and smooth way of handling any situation. Great. The reason I asked you this is we all build relationships based on emotional intelligence. That is, 80% of the time, the reason we like someone is purely because of their emotional intelligence. That is, what do I mean by emotional intelligence? How they handle a situation, how they respond in a particular situation, how they talk, how is that they interact or engage with people around, that makes the people feel, other people feel very comfortable, it makes them feel very accommodated, liked, respected, etc. So whatever true values they believe in, are they able to show it in actions as well? That automatically makes us build a relationship or break a relationship with people. Similarly, in a classroom, especially with students, 80% of the time that students love you is because of who you are as an individual and how we conduct ourselves as a teaching faculty. And so only 20% weightage is given to the subject matter expertise or the teaching technique or methodology that you apply. So the first technique which will help you become much more aware and much more ready to handle your emotions is called as traffic signal. I'm sure all of you, especially considering all of us are in India, we know how well our traffic signals work. Most of the time, I don't think it's working, or even if it is working, we aren't consciously entirely following. So today, when we do a self-reflective analysis on ourselves, I hope all of you have a note and pen beside you because you're going to make notes for yourself. You wanted one day break from making notes, but today also I'm asking all your faculty members to be taking notes. I'm really sorry, but this will be useful for you. So what we would be doing is, I want you to write down 3 sentences, or rather 3 ways to handle your emotions, starting with I should. As to I should handle my emotions better, or I should control my anger, I should not get upset, I should not get irritated easily. It can be anything, but 3 reasons as to why you should handle your emotions effectively, and then you can put it in the chat box. I'll repeat, 3 reasons why you should handle your emotions effectively as a teaching faculty. I'm waiting to see a lot of responses come my way. There should be so many responses that my laptop decides to crash. No, God forbid does it happen. I'm just kidding. Yes, to handle situations better. So you should handle situations better, okay? Please make sure your sentences start with the words I should. So I should handle situations better. I'm waiting for more responses. Harini ma'am, Sweetie ma'am, yes, to I should influence students. Yes, very true. Directly or indirectly, all of us are influencing each other. But are we influencing the right way, or is it just an influence based on how we are as an individual? Is something for us to reflect on. Great, Harini ma'am. So I think I'm going to be learning something from you then. Manjulaasree ma'am says, I should not be lost in my thoughts. Great. Manage students better and effectively. I should communicate with them better. Great. I want you to now write the same set of sentences starting with the words I could. So if, for example, Fatima ma'am has written, I should communicate with them better, rephrase the same sentence with I could communicate with them better, and tell me the feeling or the difference it creates. Starting the same point with I should versus I could, what is the difference it creates in you? Tamilarsi ma'am says, I could regulate emotions for good interpersonal skills. Great. I would like to understand what is the difference you noted when you wrote the sentences starting with I should versus I could. Anita ma'am says, I could manage students, enhance my relationship. Great. So the first thing is with regards to the traffic light technique is for us to understand that as an emotionally intelligent person, it becomes important for us to develop an emotional vocabulary. What do you really mean by emotional vocabulary? Yes, it's about understanding that when we, for example, use the words I should, this automatically makes us feel that there is no way out. இது பண்ணியே ஆனோ இல்லாட்டி there is no way that we can build a rapport or a connect with our students. But the same thing, when you start with the words I could, it reminds you that, hey, there are multiple options, multiple opportunities available. Because in NLP language, we say three things: deletion, distortion, and generalization. I'll repeat: deletion, distortion, and generalization. This is basically that based on our individual personal experiences, our values, belief systems, we decide what is right, what is wrong, what is correct, what isn't, what could be continued, what we could continue, what should be avoided. And in that process we tend to delete information around us, and we tend to misunderstand or misinterpret a particular gesture, a particular reaction, and we come to a conclusion based on only our awareness instead of looking at it from different perspectives. And also, as humans, to make it easier for us to remember information, we tend to generalize it. For example, சவுத்துலேருந்து வரவங்களே இப்படிதான் இருப்பாங்க, இவங்க பொண்ணுங்களே இப்படிதான், பசங்களே எப்பவுமே நிறைய பேசிட்டே இருப்பாங்க. We generalize based on what we would have seen twice, thrice, because it becomes easier for us to accommodate this information in our brain. So what happens in due course is we decide completely, or we think, react, or respond completely based on our map of reality, and we're not looking at what other people could be thinking. And eventually what happens is we start believing in, oh, this is the only way out and there are no other options. But as an emotionally intelligent person, like all of you in the room today, when you understand that you have the power over three things: your thoughts, your words, and your physiology, that is your body language, you can understand how to snap out of it or how you can respond much more effectively. So this simple exercise was to just tell you that, for example, when you tell yourself I should, somewhere you are instructing your brain, somewhere you're telling yourself that there is no other way out, there is no other option or opportunity. But when you just shift from that thought process and move into a mindset where you feel, where you give your mind a space to think from different perspective, respond from different perspective, and you remind yourself that, oh, there are multiple ways for me to engage with my students, there are multiple ways for me to respond in situation, multiple ways for me to take a decision, come to a conclusion, it gives you more freedom of choice. And we will be able to think much more effectively when we realize that we have the innate quality of being able to differentiate and also the freedom of choice. So what are you going to do with the traffic signal exercise, Barsha? You mentioned it 5 minutes back, but you still haven't given much more clarity on it. Is at the end of every session, your teaching sessions or your classroom sessions, or at the end of a particular day, you can do a self-reflective exercise. You can become your own coach because all the answers are within you. Only you are aware of your thoughts, your words, and your body language. So when you reflect on what is that you can stop, so the color red signifies what is that I could stop in order to make sure that I become much more effective in the way I handle myself, in the way I interact with students, in the way I approach students, what will make me more approachable for my students. So red is for you to reflect on what you could stop. Amber, right now I have yellow, I understand, but you can just choose to think this is an amber color or an orange as part of the traffic signal. So what is that you have been telling yourself, that is a reflection on your thoughts and your words, and what is that you could not stop, but pause or slow down in order to become much more effective? I'll repeat. Amber color signifies reflection on your thoughts and your words for you to understand what you could slow down or pause in order to become much more effective. And under the green category, you would write, what is that I could start doing to become much more aware of my emotions? What is that? I'll repeat. What is that I could start doing to become much more aware of my emotions? Can you give us an example, Varsha, when it become that much more easier? Okay, so I had a session last evening with around 150 participants, and over a period of time, the number of participants kept increasing, and there was the interaction from their end was very less. So at that point, I got a little, agitated that, oh God, am I really making sense to them? Am I adding value? I'm not receiving any response. So how do I do? What do I do? Then, even though I was talking to them, I just quickly took a 10-second break. So I told them that, reflect on this activity. And meanwhile, in my head, I visualized the colors red, amber, and green. And I asked myself, what is that I should stop? And I figured that I could stop thinking of things which are not under my control, because emotionally intelligent people understand that only your thoughts influence your words and influence your behavior. Therefore, when you understand what is it you've been thinking over here, there's being reflected in your words and in your body language, and how do you move from it. Then I reflected on what could I control, what could I pause, and then I was able to restart with a bang, and then it helped me give a good feedback, receive a good feedback. So this is a very, very simple reflective exercise which can be done at any point of time. This is just a reminder that, hey, when you develop awareness of your thoughts, because your thoughts directly influence your words. For example, let's say you're telling yourself, these students are always irritating and annoying, and I'm not understanding how I could possibly be handling this riot of a bunch, right? I mean, riot creating students, or people who are extremely students who are extremely rebellious. When you ask yourself, when you have that thought in your mind, imagine the kind of words that would come out of your mouth. It will automatically be, whatever I say will not add value to them. Whatever I do will not create a difference. நான் என்ன சொன்னாலும் அவங்க இப்படிதான் கத்த போறாங்க, குதிக்க போறாங்க. So doesn't I don't understand how I'm going to do it. Automatically, if you notice your physiology, your body language, you will shrink, you will look down, you might start breathing heavily, and also your eyes will automatically go down. Because when we get a little emotional, that is, when any form of emotion, we tend to look down. I will be touching the eye axis cue separately, but normally our physiology changes for every single emotion. For example, confident people, you can spot confident people even in a room of 1,000 even with a room of 1,000 people, you'll be able to spot that one confident person, because they will always be erect, they'll maintain eye contact, like how few of you had mentioned, and they would be forthcoming and will be much more ready to engage. You can find out people who are extremely energetic, because they will be enthusiastic, they'll be more interested and much more involved. You can find people who are very shy, timid, because they'll be slouching, they'll be looking down or looking away, or seeing how they can avoid the crowd. Because every single emotion that we experience, there is a change in our physiology. So when we understand the first thing, which is the choice of our emotional vocabulary, second is reflect on what you could stop, where you could slow down, and what you could start new, that is the traffic signal exercise. And the third thing is understand that you have complete control over your thoughts, your words, and your physiology, and just set a snap out timer. The snap out timer can be set for 7 to 10 minutes. Let's say you've had a very bad day and you're extremely dejected or demotivated, or you feel a little tired, from having a very strenuous class. Just set a timer. So what I do is I pick my phone and I set a timer for 7 minutes or 10 minutes. And at that point, I practice mindful meditation, because that automatically increases your capacity to become much more intelligent about how you handle your emotions. And also, I do the self-reflective traffic signal exercise. How many of us in the room already know what is mindfulness meditation? You can drop in a message saying, yes, I already know what is the meditation technique. Or if you've already been practicing a technique also, you can share it with me. I'm waiting for responses come my way. Okay, thank you, Subha sir. You mentioned that you aren't aware as yet. No problem, it makes it easier for me. Tamlarsi ma'am says no, Fatima ma'am says no. Okay, great. So what you could do is mindfulness meditation can be practiced at any time of the day. This helps you work on your breathing because, like I mentioned earlier, each emotion has a different physiology, different body language. And when you want to become calm, when you want to feel relaxed, you want to have a peace of mind, you want to be able to effectively engage with the people that you're having conversation with, all that you have to do is just practice this mindfulness meditation. What do is breathe in for 4 seconds from your diaphragm, that is from your stomach. So if you can see, I'm having my hand on my stomach. So keep one hand on your stomach and one hand by your chest. Breathe in from your stomach for just 4 seconds. Hold your breath for 4 seconds and breathe out for 4 seconds. So totally this process will take you 12 seconds. One cycle will take you 12 seconds. So breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds and breathe out for 4 seconds. Like this, if you could do it in a minute, 12 seconds, so you can do it if you're able to do at least 3 to 4 times and then do it for just 5 minutes. That itself initially will relax your mind and will remind you that only your thoughts, your words, and how you choose to respond, the choice of how you can influence your people effectively in a positive direction, completely under your control, it will help you relax. So, in your snap out time that I mentioned, 5 minutes can be allocated for practicing mindfulness meditation. The other 5 minutes would be for to reflect on gaining awareness on what are the thoughts, what could be paused or slowed down, the amber color, and what could you start in order to become much more effective. Any doubts or questions so far? I do truly believe that silence is the first step of learning and interaction is the second step of growing. So if you have a question, please ask me, or if you feel, Varsha, you shared too many things, can you just repeat it one more time? I would be more than happy to do it. Or if you feel there's a different point of view or a different perspective that you would like to share, or a different suggestion that you have been applying in your personal life, which will be useful for the rest of the participants in the room today, please do share with your colleagues and friends. Okay. I'm going to wait for just 10 more seconds. Selva Kumar sir, would you have any question for me?
Varsha, I think they are all in the first phase of learning.
Okay, great. Then that's great. Yes, like I do believe that silence is definitely the first phase of learning. Okay, so far I'm going to just do a quick recap because our brain is beautiful. You know what? In a day, our brain is open to attract 3 million bits of information every single day. But we as humans process only 7 plus or minus 2 chunks of information every day. So in the last 40 minutes, I think I've already shared too many things. I'll do a quick recap before I move to the next technique. So whatever I've shared so far is for you to become aware of your emotions and for you to understand that you have complete choice of how you can handle or interact with students, and you are the only person who is responsible for your thoughts, because your thoughts influence your words and your words influence your body language or physiology. So when you reflect on what you could stop, slow down, or start, along with practicing mindfulness meditation for 5 minutes and setting a timer that I'm going to feel bad, I'm going to feel low, I'm going to feel dejected or uncomfortable only for the next 10 minutes. After that, I'm going to snap out of it, I'm going to get out of it. It helps you, remind you that there's so many things for you to appreciate or be appreciative of, and so many things for us to be grateful of. It helps us to move ahead with the sessions coming our way. So on this note, I'm going to move to the second technique, which is For which can I have, is it possible for us to have our video cameras turned on now, or would you still prefer just being on mute and having the camera off? Then it's no problem. I'll have a different activity come your way. Thank you, Manjulaasree ma'am. For the question that you had asked, I will reply to you in private. Okay, great. So what I would be asking you is a set of questions, and you can reflect on your responses for the same. Okay, so here you go. This helps you in understanding how you can interpret body language, because when you just interpret body language, that itself is half the walk done, because 55% of our communication, our conversation, or interaction with people is entirely influenced by the body language of people around us. How we convey a particular point, you can by the reaction on their face, you can gauge if they're understanding, if they're interested, if they're feeling low, or they're happy, surprised. All the emotions can be read when you're able to just read this part of the body, if not the entire body language. So now I want you to just reflect on the questions I would be asking you. Question 1. Can you all think of an yellow elephant? Yellow elephant. I think it sounds very funny. People are like, what? Okay. Can you remember what your best friend was wearing the last time you saw them? Your best friend, what dress this person was wearing the last time that you saw them? What would a panda look like if it was pink and yellow? A panda, bear, or any animal for that matter, if it was in a combination of pink and yellow. Imagine a dog, a street dog in the color pink and yellow. Okay. What was the first song that you heard that made you feel so good, and even now it brings goosebumps or it brings a smile to your face? Okay. What would our national anthem, no offense to our country's national anthem, but what would our national anthem sound like if a Mickey Mouse was going to sing? If a Mickey Mouse sang our national anthem. Can you recite A, B, C, D, E, F 5 times inside your head? Okay. What does it feel like to have a hot cup of coffee, tea, or just a hot cup of milk when the temperature is -5? Very obvious. People might be thinking, Varsha, ask a question which is relevant to us. Namba Chennai la irukom or namba South la irukom. How is it possible to experience -5 degrees? Okay. One last question. How would a dog with yellow stripes look? How would a dog with yellow stripes look? Okay, so why do you think I asked you so many questions? This would have definitely been a little bit more interesting if you were able to see the facial expression or your eye movement if everybody's cameras were turned on, but no issues. I'm sure you can reflect on it. These are called eye accessing cues. I'll key it in the chat box. It's called eye accessing cues. Have any of you heard of this? This is the second technique for you to improve your emotional intelligence, to engage with people around you. If you've heard of it earlier, please do share your perspective or your understanding in the comment box, or you can unmute yourself and share it with all of us. Can Can I get a thumbs up or a thumbs down? Yes, okay, so Tamilarsi ma'am, Manu ma'am have heard. Okay, great. So eye accessing cues helps you in interpreting the body language. Like how I mentioned, when you understand that you're feeling low and automatically you understand what is the physiology of a calm person, and then you breathe in, practice mindfulness meditation, and then you change your posture, automatically it sends a signal to your brain that, hey, snap out of this negative feeling and focus on what is important, focus on what your current priority is or what you're looking to achieve. Similarly, when we are interacting with our audience, with our students especially, when we're able to read their eyes, it becomes easier for us to understand what emotion they are experiencing. You can play this game with kids, with your fellow faculty members, or anybody across age group, and 90% of the time this will work unless they are cross-wired, unless they think or respond differently. For example, if they're left-handers, they might be a little cross-wired, but otherwise 90% of the time this will work like magic, and this will help you understand how you can change your style of communication to leave an impact on your students. So how do you interpret this? The eye accessing cues is very important simply because our brain stores the information along this band. So here is where I know I'm showing my very messy hair, but this is the palette where the information gets stored in our brain. Therefore, when we understand how this functions, it becomes easier for us to be able to change our response in a particular situation to influence effectively. So what happens is, you can make a note of it. Right now it will be a mirror image, but you can make a note of it as left and right. So your left eye, whenever you look above, that is, let's say looking above, it means they are trying to recollect a memory. For example, I asked you to, for example, let's say I'm asking you to think of, can you think of the last time you went on a vacation and you had so much fun? What did you see? So you will think of, when did I go for a vacation? What did I really see? Oh, I saw mountains. This was the scenery that I saw. It felt really good. When you're trying to recollect a visual image, all of us, all human beings, we process information, we take in information in three ways: visual, auditory, and kinesthetic, that is feelings. Also, the other two senses are olfactory and gustatory, but the main focus will be on how we process information by what we see, what we hear, and what we feel. For example, the reason that you feel very confident right now, or the reason that you feel a little low, could be based on what someone would have told you, could be based on what you experienced, or could be based on what you saw. Similarly, that's how exactly our students also will be processing information. So whenever your students are keeping their hand like this and they're looking above left hand side, it means that they're trying to recollect some information, a visual information. When they're looking straight, it means that they're trying to reflect on something which is auditory information. They're looking like this, or they're looking straight into your eyes, or looking left hand side. It means they're trying to remember a particular sound. For example, I asked you to first think of national anthem song. So you'll be wondering, okay, how does a national anthem sound? And then I asked you to imagine. That's the second step. But first I asked you to think of a national anthem song. So you're trying to remember an auditory, a sound, how this particular national anthem would sound. You're trying to recollect that piece of information. And when students or people look down, left hand side down, it means they're having an internal dialogue. All of us have a practice of talking to ourselves. Okay, இது பண்ணலாமா, இது வேண்டாமா, இது நம்ம சொல்லி கொடுக்கலாமா வேண்டாமா, will this be useful for them or not? Similarly, students also, they're constantly looking down, left hand side down. It means that they're constantly talking to themselves internally. Is it making sense to me? Do I have doubts? How is this useful for me? Where can I put it to use? So that is how they're having a constant internal dialogue happening, conversation happening. So when you understand that people who look at left top, visual recollection, auditory recollection, sound, and when they look down left hand side, internal, அவங்களுக்குள்ளே பேசிப்பாங்க, அவங்களுக்குள்ளே information process பண்ணிப்பாங்க to understand நிஜமாவே இது புரியுதா இல்லையான்னு. ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் இன்ட்ரோவர்ட்டட் பீப்புள், இப்போ வளவளன்னு என்ன மாதிரி பேசுறவங்கலாம் வந்து நேருக்கு நேரு கேட்டுருவாங்க. If there are people introverted, they will look down and they'll constantly be reflecting on, oh, what is right? Okay, for example, right now in this room, all of you, I can presume, are introverted in the sense that you are responding when it is required. Otherwise, you're constantly reflecting on whether what Varsha is saying is useful, applicable, implementable, right? So that is a self-reflection process which is happening. Now, coming to the right side. The ones who look at right top, it means they're imagining something. For example, I asked you to imagine a yellow elephant, a dog with yellow stripes, an animal, a street dog with pink and yellow stripes, right? And you were like, what? This doesn't make sense. Is it possible? It sounds very funny. I'm not even able to get a picture, right? This is all because you're trying to work on your creative brain, your creative ability. Also, people who generally are trying to come up with reasons, excuses, or if they're trying to hide something or they're trying to lie, they will look at right side. Because when we're trying to imagine something or we're trying to make up something, we're trying to create something new, we will look at the right top. So this is very, especially when someone could be lying or hiding or coming up with excuses, if they're consciously looking into your eyes, then it's impossible. But otherwise, their usual self, they'll be looking at right top. If it is right ears level, right, like how left auditory level, right ear level, it means that they're trying to create a sound. For example, I told you, I asked you to imagine how national anthem would sound if Mickey Mouse sang it, right? So you're like, what? How is it possible? Mickey Mouse was trying to bring in a picture of Mickey Mouse, and how will this Mickey Mouse voice sound? Mickey Mouse national anthem paadna eppadi irukum? You're trying to correlate all the information and then like, okay, fine, this is how it could sound. And then people who look right bottom, those are people who are having an emotional experience. Either it could be a story that you told them or an example that you gave them, which might make them feel, oh, okay, this is how it might feel, this is how it could feel, this is how I'm relating to it. When they're having an emotional experience, when they're either reliving a past emotion or they're trying to imagine how this emotion, if it's created in future, would be, they're trying to think of that experience, they will look right bottom. So right above is imagination. This is ear level, will be imagining a sound, and right bottom would be when they're imagining either reliving the past emotion, past experience, or when they're trying to think how it will feel in future. How will this help you is you can understand whether your students are interested, involved, they're able to understand or follow you, whether they have doubts. And also it helps you when you want to ask them to imagine something. When you take your hands above your head level, you will automatically get them to imagine. When you want them to understand it when you want to teach interpersonal skills for them, you take your hands below, automatically emotionally they'll be able to build a connect or rapport with you. And also when you look at eye level, it helps you in building trust with them that, hey, I am there for you, you are there for me. So 2 techniques I have shared with you so far. One is with regards to self-awareness. Second is with regards to understanding, interpreting body language of people around you to manage your responses or manage their response also that come your way effectively. I will be sharing one more technique. I understand it's 12 p.m. Is it okay if I take 5 more minutes of your time?
Okay, Varsha. If it is 5 minutes, it's not a problem.
Okay, sure. So imagine that you are a fog, or imagine you are a mist. So sky la vandu neenga and fog mari irkingena, imagine if someone kept throwing stones at you. What would you do? Would you be throwing the stones back? If you're just a set of clouds coming together and you're just about to rain, or it's just misty or foggy, what will happen if a stone is thrown? The stone will fall back, right? Emotionally intelligent people like all of you in this room, imagine that you are a fog. Even if negativity comes your way in the form of words, thoughts, or action, you have the complete choice of how you can respond to the particular situation. For example, let's say that for example, I'm a facilitator where right now all the cameras are turned off. If the same Barsha took a session 5 months back virtually, I would have felt very dejected and bad that, oh, why is it that the camera is off, or why are people on mute, etc. But again, when I started coaching myself, when I started reflecting on my thought process, I figured that only my words, my thoughts, and my actions are under my control. Therefore, how I choose to respond to you, how I can really add value to you is only under my control. And it is completely your choice on, interacting or being on mute is completely your choice. And I am no one to question that. When I understood that opinions aren't facts, when someone shares an opinion with you, it isn't a fact unless you truly believe in it, unless you truly are in correlation or alignment with it. It is only an opinion. You would be able to better handle yourself and take much more care of yourself. So, on this note, I would just give you 5 questions. These 5 questions will help you reflect on yourself much more effectively. I'll put it in the chat box also. So these questions can be used as a self-coaching technique. This is again for you to build awareness of your emotions, because only when you're able to put a word to it, understand how you label your emotion, you'll understand how to better handle it. So the questions are, you can do it at the end of every day, which is, the first question is, what was my emotional strength for the day? So when you understand, you ask yourself, I took 3 classes today, or I had interaction with people today, what was my emotional strength? How did I really handle myself? Reflect on that. Second question is, what was my emotional weakness? This will help you reflect on, where did I go wrong? Where did I lose control over myself? The third question is, if my loved one or my friend or my partner or my close associate had to describe my behavior or how I handle myself today, how would this loved one of mine describe my behavior today? This will help you bring a different perspective, because emotional intelligence grows only when you have multiple perspectives come your way, and that reflective process helps you realize what's working for you, what's not working for you. The fourth question is, what could I do differently tomorrow? Today, this was my strength, weakness. I understood how my friend will describe me. But what could I do differently tomorrow? And the fifth is to reflect on, what was I as a teacher? For example, I'll take example of Fatima ma'am. What did I as Fatima today really feel proud about, confident, or I felt very happy? And that automatically makes you reflect on your thoughts. So I do understand I have spoken for too long. It could be for around 50 minutes. But one takeaway, Varsha, நீங்க சொன்னது எதுவுமே நான் ஞாபகம் வச்சுக்க முடியல. I have classes to prepare for, I have other sessions to attend. எனக்கு நோட் பேட் வேற இல்லை. ஒன்னே ஒன்று நான் கண்டிப்பா I have to remember. What is it? Remember that you have the complete freedom of choice. Our brain has a choice to allow thoughts coming our way, but how you respond to it is completely your choice. So when you just do a quick reflective exercise every single day consistently for the next 7 to 40 days, because to make or break a habit, it takes anywhere between 7 to 40 days, depending on our mindset. Therefore, when you reflect on yourself, on what thoughts are coming your way, how are these thoughts defining your words, and how are these words defining your physiology, your body language, it will automatically help you work much more effectively on negative emotions. So on this note, I would like to end the session by saying, always choose happiness. When you consciously choose happiness, when you consciously choose joy, and you consciously choose to help and share your knowledge with everybody around you, good things and good results will always come your way. So thank you so much, all professors and teaching faculty, for being absolutely patient and absolutely involved in this knowledge sharing session. So thank you so much for that. If any questions, you can ask me. Over to you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Varsha. A very nice, wonderful session. Thank you. You, as we said, like you are a very vibrant person. The same you reflected in your session. Thank you, and you made us it is like a thought provoking. So you just gave us a idea like how we have to handle our thoughts, and you gave very good exercise and important non-verbal. So you gave a positive note that AI could be improved. So it is not like something which we cannot work on. So I feel it is a wonderful start for our phase 3. Thank you for being with
Thank
us.
you.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Yeah, participants, any questions? Someone has raised their hand. Manjula, how
How
motivate
motivate
students
students on? Okay.
online?
So one thing that you could do is, if you notice, I kept cracking joke. I didn't mind cracking jokes on myself. When you indulge yourself in self humor, and you portray that you have a sense of humor, automatically பசங்க புரிஞ்சுப்பாங்க. For example, நிறைய இப்ப நான் லாஸ்ட் வீக்கெண்ட் கூட செஷன் எடுத்தும் போது வாட் ஹேப்பன்ட் இஸ் ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ் வந்து கேமரா ஆஃப்ல வச்சிருந்தாங்க. பட் நான் பேச பேச அவங்க வந்து கொஞ்சம் சிரிக்கிறது மட்டும் எனக்கு கேட்டுச்சு. ஆடியோ பை மிஸ்டேக் அவங்க அன்மியூட் பண்ணி அவங்க சிரிச்சாங்க, ஒரு மெசேஜ் பண்ணாங்க. சிம்பிளி பிகாஸ் நானே அங்க வந்து என்னை வந்து ஒரு நம்மளோட கொலோக்கியல் டேர்ம்ல சொன்னா காமெடி பீஸ். when I represented myself as a person who was ready to be one amongst them and not one away from them, they were able to better engage with me. That is point 1. Point 2 is for you to start your sessions with a quote. A quote which is very relevant, related to the topic that you'll be sharing, or a very personal experience or a personal story. It helps in building a rapport with your students. And the third is to ask questions at the start of a session, which will bring you 3 yes answers. For example, if you notice, right now, I asked you if all of you will be willing to smile. Yes, I presumed you will be telling me yes, because nobody will be like, no, I won't smile. So just ask 3 questions for which you'll get only yes as an answer. This emotionally builds a bond with your students.
Very nice. Thank you.
Yes.
Taken the input. Thank you. And you gave a very good
Thank you,
thing.
thank you. Thank you,
The
ma'am.
choice
Thank you.
is
Excellent.
Thank you,
Excellent.
Suraj sir.
Thank you.
so you said choice is ours, right? So that is what is a nice mantra. Whether they participate or not, or whether they switch on the camera or not, whether they answer us or not, let us be more active, and let us be more balanced, and the choice is ours. Yeah.
Most
Thank you.
Thank you.
Vasha.
I'll share my email ID and my contact number in the chat box. Meanwhile, Priyadarsini ma'am, I'll also share like a tip sheet of like a takeaway notes as such with you, which will be useful for all the faculty members, so that they can reflect on it if they have any
Yeah,
questions.
sure.
Also in touch with you or me, and it will just help them recollect what points have been discussed through the session.
Sure. Thank you. You're happy to
Sure.
do so, and thank you for doing it. Thank you.
Pleasure. If any questions, you can ask me. Otherwise, if you feel okay, 1 hour சொன்னீங்க முடிச்சிட்டீங்க, okay, bye na nanu bye சொல்றேன், no problem.
So we wanted to extend, but the problem is the constraints. So they must be having class.
Completely
Even we
understand.
have class, and that's what. So fine. Thank you,
Definitely.
Varsha. So we
Thank you
are
so
getting
much.
a lot of messages in the chat box. Thank you. Wonderful session. Very nice session.
Thank you.
Good. Nice. We are very happy. So thank you for giving a very good quick start for this session, phase 3. So thank you, Varsha, and thank you, participants, for joining with us. And we will meet for the afternoon session, which is at 3 o'clock today. So please join us by 3 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you once again, Priyadarsini.
Yeah, thank you.
Have an amazing day ahead, and always choose to smile.
Yeah,
Bye.
always.
Thank you.
Shall we wind up?